Hello, welcome to this DCS F-16C tutorial. In this video, I will talk about fuel management and also give an example of an air-to-air engagement. So to begin, I'm going to do I already did my standard startup as seen in our startup video, and I'm going to take off. Once I take off, I'm going to start climbing at about 6 or 7 degrees just to get some altitude. I'm going to stay in burner. Generally, in this plane, you want to stay out of burner as much as possible. So I'm going to climb about here, about 8 or so degrees, and I'll throw on my attitude hold just to maintain it. You see, when we're in burner, especially this low, our fuel flow per hour is through the roof. So we'll be burning through our stores extremely quickly. So whenever you're cruising around, or if you don't have fuel tanks, especially for your loadout, stay out of burner, just use mill power, you'll be going fast enough. The higher you are, the more throttle you can give it and burn less fuel. You'll see as we gain altitude, even though I'm still at full burner, the fuel flow is going down because the plane is more efficient the higher you are. So for this example, I'm going to go out and I'll fly against some F-16s. I need to go 086 for 86 miles. Tilt 086. One thing you want to be cognizant of is your Mach number. As you're climbing out, you want your Mach number to always stay the same or to be increasing. So if I start to see this Mach number drop, I will be dropping my nose and reducing my climb. While I'm flying out, I'm going to go ahead and open my station jettison page. And I'll just have this mode selected so I can cycle over here and drop my tanks when they are showing empty. Just like in startup, I have it configured to drain my wing tanks first. When they are empty, I will go ahead and jettison them. So I'll get back to MRM for now. Another trick you can use, rather than relying on this analog gauge down here for your fuel, is to open up your list menu from the main DED screen and go to the option 2 that says bingo. Here it will tell you your total fuel on the aircraft. So while this is showing me my external wing fuel, I still have a gauge of how much fuel I have total on the aircraft. So if I'm in a fight or I'm about to get in one and I jettison my tanks, I don't need to worry about moving this knob or looking at this readout. I have it looking straight ahead right here at my convenience. I saw briefly the data link contact for those F-16s show up about here and about here, so I know I need to fly in about that direction. My Mach number is dropped, so I'm going to bring my nose down a little bit. You'll notice when you drop the fuel tanks, the weight and the drag on your aircraft is going to be reduced tremendously, so you'll be speeding up a whole lot. As we're flying out, once again, I will mention to look at the fuel flow. You see it is now almost halved from what it was when we were closer to the ground. The higher up you are, the more efficient you will be. Since I know I'm not going to be able to lock the aircraft this far out, this is probably 70 miles or so, I'm going to bring it down to about 40 on the 80 scale and just make sure I have their potential altitudes in range. I figure they'll be within 3,000 and 50,000 feet, so that's about where I'll leave it. Gets much more fuel efficient the higher up you are. I'm at 33,000 at the moment. I've been in burner this entire time. dropping my nose as I go to keep my Mach number either maintaining or increasing. All right, I have them on data link again, so I know I'm headed in about the right direction. And they're showing 27,000 feet, so I know my radar scan is still good. Once they turn into the white dots, I will know that I'm able to get a lock on them. Remember, RWS is 2 targets at a time. My speed is starting to drop, so I'll bring my nose down again. You generally always want to be above Mach 1 if you're doing a beyond visual range, long range fight. That way your missile has the most potential energy to hit its target. They're getting close to that 40-mile mark. I remember from the data link contact showing about here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my fuel tanks now, even though I still have a little bit left in them. So I'll go to my stores jettison, select my stores, and weapon release button to drop my stores. At this point, I'll go back to medium range missile and just wait to lock them up. Dropping my tanks, reducing the drag, is already making my Mach number increase drastically compared to where it was. Go ahead and test my jammer switch, on, off. If you're ever pressing on, off and it's not working, just cycle your jammer source switch down here, and it should start to work. All right, they're starting to approach that 40-mile mark, and they're at 28,000, so I know my scan is good. I'll be utilizing my radar as much as possible. If I'm within 10 miles, I might utilize the dogfight mode. I just need to keep in mind the dogfight mode is 1 target until it hits, as opposed to the radar lock RWS being 2 targets. Them being pointed away from me will make it harder to lock up. Remember, I can tell they're pointed away from me by the line coming off of the triangle. So I'll probably have to get a bit closer than I normally would if they were coming head on. So because this is on the external wing, I can put it to norm, or I can just utilize the bingo fuel readout. Pretty fast, so I'm going to get a little higher actually. I'm at 1.25. And I'll probably cruise at about 40,000 for my initial engagement. All right, they've popped up on my RWR, so I know they're about off to my left. And there they are. Adjust my scan volume. All right, I was able to lock 1, box 3. Hopefully I'll be able to find another one. If not, I'm just going to start my defensive turn. There's another. I'm going to select him, turn back in, fire, and continue my defensive turn. I now have a third locked. If I see this square, rectangle, the solid yellow on the back of the target I fired on start to flash, I know I can unlock him and lock the next guy. Watch your burner use, splash 1, because as you get lower, remember your fuel flow will increase tremendously. There's the flashing rectangle that I talked about earlier. So I know I can unlock him. I'm going to extend my radar out, pop some chaff. I used burner for the turn to keep my speed up, but I came out of burner to maintain my fuel. You can go through 5,000 pounds of fuel faster than you realize. Spaced away from the mic, I'll say it again. You can go through the 5,000 pounds of fuel faster than you realize if you are in burner. Adjusting my scan, looking for the targets both visually and on my radar. All right, I got a target. You can see him out there. Point towards him. Hopefully I'll be able to find the fourth as well. All right, I'm in range. I'm not going to bother getting closer. Hold my weapon release. Box 3. I found the other one. I'm going to cycle to him. And I'll send a missile towards him as well, even though I'm way outside the fire range, just to keep him defensive so I can creep in. I will make sure I maintain the locked targets on my radar page until the missiles go active, signified by that yellow rectangle flashing. I can see him going defensive. All right, the yellow rectangle is flashing, so I know it's active and I no longer need to keep him locked or on my radar page. He has evaded my missile, so I'm going to fire again at him. You can tell I'm within the kill range, so this has a huge chance of hitting him. And I'm confident in that missile, so I'm actually going to sail right past him. Yep, hit. Extend my radar out and start trying to lock his friend out in front of me with the data link contact that I also saw the spec visually. Locked. And I have one missile left, so I'm going to try and make it a guaranteed kill. I'm going to get the burner to get some speed. Watch my fuel, because you see how fast that's ticking down. He's still trying to go cold to evade my missile. I know it's not going to hit. Maybe he starts to think that and he's turning into me. All right, he's turning into me. I can tell because the line on his target is starting to come around. And I want to get just a little bit closer to guarantee I get the kill, and then I'll come home. All right, I'm in the kill range, box 3. The missile instantly went active off the rails. You can see by the flashing rectangle. So I'm actually going to unlock him, convert my speed into altitude, and prep to come home. Splash. All right, so during startup, we set our home plate mark point. I'm going to come out of burner and just go mill power for now, get some altitude. I'm going to select my home plate mark point, and I'm going to utilize that to navigate home. So I can tell it is off in this direction, 117 miles and an estimated 13 minutes back. You stay out of burner and you get high, your fuel flow becomes much less than it would be otherwise. I'm going to fly towards that home plate diamond that I selected with my steer point. The only thing you need to keep in mind as you fly this aircraft is your Aoa indicator. If you see this start to climb through the roof, it means you're about to stall and you're going way too slow for your current altitude or inclination. So just get some speed and let it rest somewhere between 5 and 0 and you'll be all right. If this starts getting into the yellow and red zones, when this gets up to about 10, 11, 12, this, instead of being black, becomes yellow and red. It means you are in danger of stalling and you need some speed. All right, at this point, I'm on my way home, and at 27,000 feet in military power, I'm going to level off. I'm going to read my instruments and then tell you what they mean. So I've leveled off. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my altitude hold. And I'm going to put in a heading towards my waypoint. So I'll go into nav. This arrow and this mileage corresponds to this mileage and this arrow. So I'm going to put my heading, select, over the arrow, and turn on my heading hold. Now my plane will maintain this altitude and this heading and fly me directly home. All right, let's talk about our fuel flow and our total fuel left. So because this is a fuel flow of 6,300 pounds per hour, and I have a total fuel of 3,200 pounds, I know I have roughly 35 minutes of flight time at my current parameters. And utilizing the time to target, I know I am 11 minutes away from the airfield. So I know I have plenty of fuel at my current parameters to get home. If it was going to take you longer to get home than the fuel you were burning with the current fuel you had, you know you have to adjust because you'll never make it. Here, I know I have double the time I'll need to get home. In fact, I'll have triple the time. So I have about a half hour worth of fuel, and I'm only 10 minutes away. So I'm sitting pretty, and if I wanted to, I could increase my throttle. You just have to do some back of the envelope math in your head to make sure that you're not burning so much that you're going to run out before you get where you're going. At this point, it's just an easy ride home. Instead of making you wait an extra 10 minutes to see a landing, I'm just going to end the video here. Thanks for watching.